guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new entitled people content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled "Sister Talks Crap Behind My Back Then Throws Fit When I Won't Buy Her Gas, Cigs Anymore Once I Catch Her." My sister smokes. Not great to start with. On top of this, she smokes very expensive cigarettes where we live. Each pack is almost $10. That's pricey here. Cheap packs are like $4. Which I didn't really care about before when she had a job, because how she spends her paycheck, the parts not being used to care for her kids anyways, isn't really my business. But she quit her job, during the pandemic, a month or so ago because she, and I quote, "don't want to deal with that idiot boss of mine anymore," and was coasting on the money she had saved. Well, now she's run out of money, shocker, and instead of looking for another job she's instead going to try selling her car. But in the meantime she's broke with no way to buy cigarettes. I don't smoke so she can't bum anything off me. But our mom smokes so sis could technically bum a couple off her, but she doesn't because mom smokes those crappy cheap cigarettes. No, she wants her brand of cigarettes. She's never heard the term, beggars can't be choosers it seems. So she's been in a pissy mood for a full week because she can't afford her expensive cigarettes, won't accept any cheap ones, and none of us are coughing up $10 to buy her a pack she'll blow through in maybe a week. But today I'd had enough of her idioty attitude and decided to do her a favor. I said if she would go through the Place A drive-through for me so I could get us all some food, her kids included, then I'd help her get some gas and a pack of cigarettes. She eagerly agreed but rejected my offer to get her any food. And Place A wasn't open yet. It was like 9:30 a.m. and they opened after 10 a.m., so she'd have to wait till they opened. Then she sorta paused and asked if I really wanted food from Place A, and not Place B, which is closer. Place B is legit right next to the gas station while Place A is like maybe 2 buildings down, so still very close. I say no, I've been craving something specific from Place A, so she relents and says okay and that she's gonna be sitting outside drinking coffee until then. So maybe 20 minutes go by and I go out to give sis a written list of what to get, 'cause she has a not great memory and will forget stuff, and I get close to the side porch door, which is open, and hear her idioting about having to go through the drive-through for me to our mom. Just how I'm so rude for asking her to drive so far, and how food from Place A is just so ducking gross, and how she didn't even want to do this anyways. Well, I heard our mom tell her to be grateful because nobody else was offering to buy her food, gas, and her fancy cigarettes. Well, sis scoffed and started saying something else, but I walked outside and she shut up. Mom and her had wide-eyed looks, but I reached down and plucked my card, which she was gonna use to get everything, from her hand and just said, "Never mind, I don't want to burden you. I'll order through DoorDash instead." Then walked back inside. She tried to call me back and say she was just messing around, but I ignored her, and when it was made clear I wasn't buying her crap or coming back, I heard her pitching a huge baby fit and our mom laughing and telling her she did this to herself by being ungrateful. So yeah, sis threw her fit and wore herself out before going and sitting in her car for a few hours to pout. I really had no issue helping her if she did a little favor for me in return. But I'm not going to help anyone who idiotes about said help behind my back. The next story is titled "Today I Got Trapped in a Supermarket by a Literal Choosing Beggar." So I stopped by at the supermarket between Zoom calls today, and this guy approaches me on the way in. For context, I'm a 21Y. Oh. F and, apparently, also a grade A chump. He tells me he's short on cash and could I please grab him some juice and a snack. I say sure. I've been broke myself and know what it's like to be hungry. I never give away money, but if someone needs food I tend to just think whatever and hand it over. He follows me into the store. Bit weird but okay. He picks out his crap and I start looking for my own stuff. He looks confused that I'm doing my own shopping and holding him up, saying, "You don't seem very concerned about me. Like I'm telling you that I need help and you should be concerned." It's iffy. At this point I'm thinking, oh no, he's getting needy, better just buy him his crap so he doesn't follow me around the store anymore. I take him to self-checkout. He asks the attendant if they sell cigarettes. He says no. He asks if they do cashback and the attendant says yes, but only at the other tills. He starts trying to lead me over there, saying he needs cash for toiletries, not cigarettes. Then I say no, I'll get him what he picked out, but that's it. He starts getting aggressive. CB. I just want a $5, that's it. Me. I'm not giving you cash. I told you I'd get you snacks. That's it, dude, I'm short on money myself. I'm a full-time student on less than minimum wage earnings, and I'm already over budget on groceries this week. CB. You ducking whore. This costs what? £2.50. Look at that. I want some cash. A $5, that's nothing to you. Me. It's a lot to me, I don't get paid very much myself, man. CB. I'm not working you. I need cash. I pay for the stuff and he leaves. I get back to my shopping, but I have a feeling that a guy in full needy mode like that is probably waiting outside. I finish up 15 minutes later and lo and behold, he's staring in at me through the double doors. No sign of the food. Sometimes they open with requests like that so they can squeeze you for money. At this point I'm getting late for work and fully sting myself. I call my manager, ironically also a total creep, and explain that I'm trapped in a FC King Lidl. I ask the dude at the checkout what he thinks I should do, and him and 2 other dudes go straight out and try to chase him off. They don't manage for another 20 minutes. He gets aggressive, threatens them, stares through the doors at me, but no one budges. Eventually he ducks off and they walk me in the opposite direction to get a random bus out of the area. On the way one of the guys was like, "You have to stop talking to these people, lady." Which is not untrue, given the circumstances, but still makes me feel like a total idiot. I just don't like to feel that there is such a thing as, these people. I want to help people out. But seriously, supermarket workers are legends. That stuff was way above their pay grade, but they still covered me. The next story is titled, Typical Jerk Neighbors Complain About the Truck in My Yard. I live in a mostly quiet neighborhood with lots of snowbirds and weekenders because of the proximity to a lake. The year-rounders are mostly retired, and people generally get along fine. A couple years ago, neighbors on one side built a new garage and driveway, moving their cars much closer to my existing forsythia hedge. I love the forsythia in the spring and basically let it grow however it likes so I can have the bright yellow flowers. Almost immediately they started complaining that the hedge blocked their view as they backed out of their driveway. In my state, neighbors have no right to a view extending over someone else's property, and our Supreme Court has repeatedly ruled that if trees and bushes do not actually impinge onto the roadway, property owners have no obligation to trim for visibility. I keep a 5-foot strip mowed between my hedge and the road, perfectly reasonable to my way of thinking. Since they have no recourse hedges, they instead complain to county code enforcement about anything else they can think of. My brother parked his, licensed and insured, project truck on my property a while back because he was in the process of moving and needed a spot for it while he was figuring things out. In the meantime, he was in a bad accident in another vehicle and the truck has been sitting for over a year now. The license plate recently expired, and I got a letter from the county with threats of fines if it wasn't removed. Cue the malicious compliance. My brother decided to sell the truck for scrap and had it towed away this morning. This gave my neighbors their temporary victory as they observed from their deck, and nearly 6 inches of improved view from their driveway. At least until I moved my second vehicle, a 1960 Lincoln, which is about 2 feet longer than the truck, with current plates and insurance, into that place this afternoon. The next story is titled The Time an Acquaintance Was Unhappy with Her Birthday Celebration. I, 29F. Hesitate to call this girl, 29F, a friend because I really didn't know her that well. We met through a local group for a hobby we both had. We hung out a couple times, texted a bit, but we weren't close friends. During one of the times we were hanging out to work on our hobby, she complained that all of her friends were busy on the day of her actual birthday, but she really wanted to celebrate that day instead of waiting for the weekend or whatever. She sounded so down about it and I felt bad, so I told her I would take her out. It was only a couple of days away and I was on a super tight budget, but another one of our friends from the hobby group and I took her out to lunch at a cute cafe. We paid for her meal. She griped about the food the entire time, but I shrugged it off, and afterwards the 3 of us went back to my place for some ice cream that I made sure fit all of her dietary restrictions. While I was dishing up the ice cream, she disappeared into my bedroom and shut the door. Our other friend and I were confused but thought maybe she was having a wardrobe malfunction or taking a phone call, so we let her be for about 10 minutes before going to check on her. She didn't respond when we knocked on the door, So we let ourselves in and found her sitting on my bed with her arms crossed, tears streaming down her face. We asked what was wrong and she said she was upset that it took us so long to check on her. I was getting pissed at this point but wanted to keep the peace, so simply explained why we didn't immediately run after her. After some groveling, we got her to come out for ice cream. Before she left, I gave her a small gift that I had sewn by hand, tight budget, remember? She didn't say thank you. She looked it over and said, "EHH. I don't like the color but maybe I can dye it." Needless to say, we didn't speak much after that. It's almost 3 a.m. and instead of letting me sleep, my brain is reminding me of that awful day, so I thought I might as well share. The next story is titled 2 Coupons. A former neighbor recently reconnected with my parents. They hadn't seen each other for about 20 years. She found my mom on Facebook. She asked if my parents would like to go to dinner with her and her new husband. She explained that she had 2 buy 1 meal, get 1 meal for free coupons for a local restaurant. The restaurant was known for being a little pricey, but knowing one of my parents' meals would be free made it seem okay. When it came time for the check, the waitress asked how they would like the bill to be split. The former neighbor presented the 2 coupons and proudly stated that her and her husband were eating free. The waitress then pointed out the free meal had to be of equal or lesser value. Both my parents' meals were around $30 each while the other 2 meals were over $40 each. To this, the former neighbor just said, "That's fine," and handed her the coupons. The waitress returned with the bill for the 2 higher-priced meals with my parents' meals removed by the coupons. My dad then asked, "Shall we split this in half?" The neighbor replied, "No, our meals were covered by the coupons." My parents attempted to politely explain that they were now having to pay over $26 more than if my parents came on their own and ordered the same thing. The neighbor didn't follow that logic, but then the neighbor's new husband added that neither of them brought any money. My dad reluctantly paid the bill. The neighbor said as they were leaving, "This was fun, we should do it again." My dad just said, "No," and then both my parents just walked away. The next story is titled, "I ain't paying for this ticket less than I can pay for it at the booth." First post here. I love this sub. Excuse any English mistakes, and do correct me if you see any, please. So there I was, some 16, 17 years old. I can remember my age because some of the older high school fellows already had driver licenses. FYI, driving age in Brazil is 18. There was this event out of my hometown, but pretty near it. Nothing too fancy, just the old, local band playing, beer drinking, trying to kiss a girl, kind of vibe. I had purchased the ticket beforehand for 10 Brazilian reals. Oh, it was being sold for 15 at the booth, remember this. One of my parents drove me there. As soon as I arrived, I met some high school folks. After greeting them, one said, "No, let's go to It'll Be Better." Me. Is there room for me? Okay, then, I'll sell my ticket real quick. Oh, boy, here we go. I walked up to the first dude I saw that was looking towards me. I had my ticket in hand. He was in the middle of the line, some 20 to 25 people. It went as follows. "Mate, I bought the ticket to this party, but I and my friends decided to go to another one. $10, okay? I'll give you 8. I was dumbfounded. I just stared at him. I think my jaw dropped a little. He went on. "Well, if you want to earn some, you gotta give in some." I simply turned to the guy that was immediately after him and started what I had said. "Mate, I bogue," but he interrupted me, money in hand. I heard it. "Here's the 10. I asked this guy if he wanted me to wait until he was past security. He could think it was a counterfeit, but he said, "No, mate. Go on, enjoy your party. So do you." The next story is titled "This Starving German Lady is Officially a Choosing Beggar." Okay, some context first. This lady is in her 50s and she cleans the building I work once a week. 30 years ago, when she was on vacation from Germany to my country, Turkey, she met some dude, married him and stayed here. She had 1 daughter. Then they couldn't get along with the dude and got divorced. Since she doesn't have a work permit, she has been trying to make a living by doing underhand cleaning work. The woman's daughter is married and has her own life. This lady has so little money that she lives in a small room in the basement given by a benefactor. She's literally starving. She's trying to feed herself with whatever is the cheapest. When she comes here, every week a person in the place where I work gives the lady extra money so she can eat properly even for a couple of days. I got this lady a job last week. And I was so happy about it. because the woman's condition was upsetting me and I wanted to do something for her. I have told her several times that I can buy a ticket to Germany in case she wants to return. Because she still had relatives there, she had an older sister. I said it would be better for her to go to her own country than to live here like this. She said that the weather in Germany was humid and the weather was not good for her because she had asthma. This was a little unattractive to me at that time, but I didn't say anything. Anyways, the job I found for this lady was this. She would look after an old lady in old lady's own home and stay there. Nothing else. They would pay her a good sum of money and she wouldn't have any spending. A separate cleaner was already coming and going home. All they wanted was to cook for the old lady and stand next to her. When I said this to the German lady, she literally sneered. When I asked the reason, she said, "The things in an old woman's house is going to be old. I don't know if the bed she will give me is going to be nice. Besides, old women are always cold and they always want to stay in a warm place. I cannot breathe in the heat. Besides, her house is on the 5th floor. Is there an elevator in the building? Will they make me carry the grocery shopping? Besides, I'm German. I don't understand much about Turkish food. The smell of fryings bothers me and the very spicy food makes my stomach ache." I was shocked. Like, WTF are you going about? So, I understand some business is bad. Even if you are starving, you don't want it. But this? This job is the easiest one in the world. The old lady is not bedridden. She can do her own thing. The children of the old lady don't want their mothers to be alone, just in case something happens to her. I don't get it. I tried to convince the German lady. I told her to try it for at least a week, and I'm sure she'll get used to it and be happy. Because I know the old lady and she is one of the best people in the world. In the end, she said she would think about it. But I regretted it. It was very difficult to try to do good for someone I thought was in bad living conditions. Especially if this is officially a choosing beggar. The next story is titled "I Don't Think I Have It in Me Anymore." So I can't drive for medical reasons, and I have family that I try to visit whenever I can. I take a Greyhound bus since they're about 4 hours out, and a taxi or Uber or Lyft is way too expensive at that distance. I only live about 45 minutes from the station though, so that I can work with. Anyhow, the Greyhound station I take, which is also the only one near me, is very sketchy. In a shady part of the city and homeless people everywhere. Not saying they're what makes it sketchy, but that is relevant. Now whenever I get on or off this bus, I always have a little cash on hand in case one of them asks for $1 or something to get a drink. I'm in Texas, it's always hot here. On my last trip back, I got off and was heading to my Lyft outside, and a homeless man stopped, asking if he could exchange his quarters for a dollar bill. I told him I didn't need the quarters and to keep them, and handed him a $5 bill. This man then looked me dead in the face and said, "Just $5? Can't you spare some more?" I told him that I didn't have anything else, which was true, and had to get to my ride. He rolled his eyes and stuffed the $5 in his pocket, going past me to ask the person a few feet from me for money. I was honestly a bit shocked. This wasn't the first time I've been met with similar reactions, but to be so outright bold and blatantly ungrateful just caught me off guard. I try to be kind to those around me because I've definitely gone without, in life, but the audacity to be so prickly about the help you're given? I can't fathom any of it. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comments.